So let's move into the more complex and complicated and very uh, helpful components of Bash shell scripting. And these components will help us a lot in automating the tasks and activities in Linux system. So that is our looping with the first statement. We'll begin with the first statement. Iterating through a series of commands is a common programming practice. Often, you need to repeat a set of commands until a specific condition has been met, such as processing all the files in a directory. Just one example, we have plenty of example. And second example, you can check all the users processing all the users on a system or all the lines in a text file. So the bash shell provides the for command to allow you to create a loop that iterates through a series of values. So each iteration performs a defined set of commands. So using one of the values in the series. So here is the basic format that you can see on top of my screen. Here is the basic format of the bash shell for command. Here it is. So for, and then you'll have a variable. If you know Python language, it's quite similar to the Python for loop. You'll have for keyword and then iterative variable and then in keyword, and then finally you have a list or a series of uh, or values that the for loop will iterate through. Okay, a loop that iterates through a series of values. Those are that list here we have mentioned. And then whatever activities you want to do with each iteration, those you have to attach in do commands, and then finally you type done to close the loop. Okay, so that's how a for loop works. So uh, you supply the series of values used in the iterations in the list parameter. Here list parameter, you can specify the values in the list in several ways. So what happens in each iteration, it depends upon the number of iterations is equal to number of items which are present in the list. Okay, so in each iteration, the variable, the var contains the current value in the list. So the first iteration uses the first item in the list, the second iteration uses the second item in the list, and so on until all the items in the list have been used. And the commands entered between the do, here it is, between the do and the done statements, between do and the done statements can be one or more standard bash shell commands within the commands. So the variable contains the current, and then so here in the first line, the variable contains the current list item value for the iteration. So let's take one example as an exercise and we'll see how this works. So let me clear the screen first. Yes, it is done. uh, Vimit, and the name of the file I want to give is 5 for loop, that for.sh. Yes, it's a simple one. First shebang and bin bash, the shell has been mentioned, and after that our first module, the comment is to test the first statement, again the declaration, and after that we have for keyword. Then after that, this is an iterative variable. This is the variable which enters in the list and iterates through the list. And then in keyword, and after that we have a list of items: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado. So this is the list, and then for each iteration it has to execute the following command. That's the next state is test. Okay, and test is this is our variable, the iterative variable. So for each iteration it will fetch a certain item from that list. For the first iteration it will fetch Alabama. For the second iteration it will fetch Alaska. This test variable, it's iterative variable that will fetch Alaska. For the third iteration test will fetch Arizona. For fourth iteration the test will fetch Arkansas, like that. And whatever command that we add in between do and done will be executed for each iteration. So let's uh, get out of the vim and then give permissions for the shell and execute the file and see what is going to happen. Chmod, correct, yes or no, and then o+x, then file name. Permission has been given. Let's execute the file and see how it's going to work. Here it is. So how many are there? 6. The list consists of 6 items, and the 6 for 6 iteration we got the 6 responses from that. This is how a for loop works. The next state is Alabama, the next state is Alaska, the next state is Arizona. So this is how a for loop works in Linux bash shell scripting. So then we will move on to reading values in a list. The most basic use of the for command is to iterate through a list of values defined within the for command itself. For example, if you take the following example that we have used just now, so now each time I just want to give a more explanation for that. Each time the for command iterates through the list of values provided. Those are Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado. It assigns the test variable. In the next value in the list. The test variable can be used just like any other script variable within the command statement. So after the last iteration, the test variable, once the last iteration is done, that's the last iteration is Colorado. Once the last iteration is done, the test variable remains valid throughout the remainder of the shell script. It retains the iteration value unless you change its value. So before we move on to reading complex values in a list, so let's do few more exercises so that we'll get a fantastic hold on the for command, because this is very useful in automating the activities in Linux. So vimit, this time first exercise, another exercise for and okay, so the first activity remains same. That's done. In addition to that, what we have added is echo the last state. What happens? I just want to focus on what happens once the test, that iterative variable finish the last iteration. What happens that? So that's why echo the last state we visited was this. So once that is done, we'll come out of the for loop. So then test Connecticut. So echo wait, now we are visiting, so we just want to do this again. Let's execute chmod permission. Let me change one here, and then that's it. So the same result, but the last state we visited was Colorado. So now we are visiting Connecticut. So I just want to demonstrate that once your list of iterations are done, you will come out of the for loop, and then whatever command that you mention after that can be executed. So that's what we have proven it here. So then we will write one more file, that's 2 for.sh, and this is a simple example. So as usual, bin bash, it begins with the bin bash, and this example of how to properly define the values. So again, here there are different ways of adding a list of values. So till now what we have done is, without using any quotation marks or anything, we just mentioned one by one, like an argument in Linux. So here what will we do is, we will use double quotation marks and see how it basically responds. Okay, so for as usual, and then we have variable, and then in keyword, then after that a list of values. So list of values, so Nevada, Hampshire. So basically this is one word, New Hampshire is one word, but as we haven't used a double quotation here, so it's okay, I'll add, yeah. So double quotation, now it's a New Hampshire is a single word, New Mexico is a single word, New York is a single word. So if you don't use a double quotation, for example, let me remove the double quotation, and then I also remove the double quotation here. So now let's see what is going to happen, and we'll see, then we will add a double quotation and we'll see the difference. Okay, so let's get back, and then chmod, this time it's 2. Let's execute this and see what is going to happen. Yep, this is what is happened. So Nevada is one, New is one, there is no city as New. Okay, New Hampshire is there, but no New and then Hampshire. So that is the problem. So what will we do is, we'll add a double quotation so that we can give even the spaces to write if any city which consists of a two words, and there needs to be a space in between these two words, then how can we do that? Because if there is a space in Linux, it's considered as a separate argument. So for that reason, it's better to include double quotation. So I'll add a double quotation here as well as here, and now let's see how it works. Here it is. Now going to Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York. That's it. So that's what I want to show here. So then now let's move on to reading complex values in a list. The for command separates each value in the list with a space. If there are spaces in the individual data values, you must accommodate them. So using double quotation marks. That's what we have done it. And then so adding this double quotation marks, we are able to keep that spaces also in between. So now so let's look into reading a list from a variable. So often what happens in a shell script is that you accumulate a list of values in a list of values stored in a variable, and then need to iterate through the list So you can do this using the for command as well as. So what will we do is, in spite of directly giving a list of items, what will we do is we will allocate, we'll store all these list of items to a variable, and then we will use this variable in for loop, and let's see how it works. Okay, this is that list, same Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, and we have attached as a values to the list, and then we'll use that list in for loop, and then we attach it. Okay, so let's go to the exercise and we'll do directly there, and then we'll return back here. So vim 5, it's 4, yep, file, it states okay. Okay, so here is what we have the file. Let me go through the file once so that it would be clear. So it's reading the complex values in a list. So how would it work? So for test and in, so test is our variable, in is keyword, and from here actually starts the various complex values. I don't know if this will work or not. Let's see what's going to happen. So this is what we want to print, and let's see. Let's get back and let's execute. Let's give chmod, and then okay, o plus x and 5 3, and yeah, here it is. So what, I don't know if this shall work, like uh, it has divided the complete sentence into three words, three parts. One is, the first one is I, second one is don't know if this will and work. So why that had happened? Because of so the one which is in between the single quotation mark is considered as one work. So I, and then done, and whatever is in between, this is considered as one, so and work. So that's the reason it had happened. So to add a complex values, it's better to use a double quotation mark or single quotation mark, or just put it inside that. Okay, so similarly, another example, I don't know this will happen or not. So in spite of that, simply you take the double quotation mark I don't know, and you take double quotation mark and use it. So that's the one. So next, okay, we'll look into another example and another exercise, that is vim 5 for reading com. Yeah, this is what we are looking for. So so bin bash it starts, then file, here the states is mentioned, out of which for state and in cat file is the example. So concatenate this file. So we have mentioned, we have written the states file, uh, it is in that directory. Then after that, after concatenation, each word will be used as a state to this. Let's see. Okay, yep. So chmod o plus x and 5 4, and then 5 4. So cat states no such file or directory. So vim states, yes, it is there. What's wrong? To the variable file, uh, uh, in double quotation. So basically the value should not be enclosed in double quotation because this is file, right? So I will remove the double quotation and let's see. Okay, so now the value, the output of the states file is attached as a value to the file variable, and then after that we use a for loop state, and in that we have used list the cat command, and then cat command will concatenate all the items that are present in the states file. Then after that it will echo for each iteration visit beautiful that state name. Okay, so let's see, we have changed it, and we will commit the changes, and then we will save it and then quit it. So let's execute and see what's going to happen. So it is, here it is, absolutely working fine. So visit beautiful Alabama, visit beautiful Alaska, visit beautiful Arizona, beautiful Arkansas, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia. So this is how you can read uh, read a list of items from a file which is located in a different directory or maybe in the same directory. So if you want to check what is that, if you want to concatenate the file name, what is the file name? I forgot. States. Yes, here it is. See, the first iteration Alabama, the second iteration Alaska, the third iteration, that's okay, Arizona. There will be slight this thing, Arkansas, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia. So almost everything has been covered. So this is how you basically read values from command or from the file. So the same example we have given. So this is the another way to generate values for using the list, is to use the output of a command. So use the command substitution technique to execute any command that produces output, and then use that output of the command in for the another command. So that's what the example we have seen just now. So next we will move on to reading a directory using wildcards. Reading a directory using a wildcard. So reading a, finally you can use the for command automatically iterate through a directory or files. So to do this, you must use a wildcard character in the file for file or path name. So this forces the shell to use the file globing. File globing is the process of producing file names or path names that match a specified wildcard character. So if you want to see the example, so for file in this directory, so whatever files that are there in that directory, all for, and then this is the file is a iterative variable, in is a keyword, and then this is the directory where we have all the files. Then do this, then if it is going to check whether there is a file or not, and then it will confirm whether it is a file type or not. That's what, if it is, then if it is a file, then if it is not that, uh, if as it is a D, so it will confirm whether it is a directory or not. Sorry, that's my mistake, my mistake. As here the command that we have mentioned is D option. D option, it will confirm whether it is directory or not. If it is a directory, then it will print file, whatever that we have seen is a directory. So then if it is not, it will say it's a file. Okay, so that's what the script that we have written. Let's get back to the WSL and see. Let me clear this. Vim 5.6 for read var. Okay. Yep. ls. Now let's write that. Before that, we'll create some files will take what is it, where have we now pwd. So there are a lot of files in it in the tmp scripts. That's more than enough for us. Then after that, okay, we will add one mkdir. Okay, that's fine, that's fine, this we can take up. So let's create vim and for wildcard dot sh. Yes, shebang. Insert mode, then go for shebang, then bin bash, and then let's begin. So for loop for file in tmp, and I forgot that, sorry, tmp. Let me get back. pwd. Okay, scripts. Scripts, then all. So do if statement will start here, then I will check for directory first, and then what's that variable name I have used, dollar file. Now let me close it. Then I will use, sorry, let me get back to that indentation, then an echo. If it is a directory, then use the variable file is a directory. Then get back to the same indentation, elif. Then this time we will check for the second condition. The second if condition, elif, is for file. Its initial one is for directory, now it is for the file. So dollar, it's file, close it, then echo dollar file is a file. Then let me close it. Then let me done it. Yep, let's get back. Chmod o plus x and for wildcard.sh. It's done. Let's execute and see what's gonna happen for wildcard.sh. There is some issue, the command not found, dot forward line 6 command not found. Just a minute. What's the issue here? So the problem with this is, I think everything is fine. The script, only thing that I have changed is I've added as it as a path, and then here there should not be any space and no space. So space has been removed. Rest all fine. Let's execute and see what's gonna happen. Yes, that's it. It's clearly saying whether it's a file or directory or not. So that's how things work. That's how you can even read a directory using wildcards. So using these wildcards, you can even get to read the directory completely. What all files are there in it and everything you can read.